And, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I also use it for my crew to communicate, okay, here's a side profile, here's an aerial view, here's exactly what it needs to look like versus them trying to translate it from a flat file on a paper.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Hardwood Podcast, where we talk about your craft and the culture. This week, I am joined by owner of G6 Designs, Vic Garcia. We're going to get into all things G6, how he got started, setbacks, his process, and how he's dealing with the high demand in the industry currently. So stay locked in. All right, Vic, welcome to the podcast, man. I'm excited to kind of chop it up with you and see where you're at. It sounds like you're on location today, man.
I am. Thanks for having me on, Rod. It's the first time being on your show. We hit it off from day one when I met you, so I'm really excited. Like everything you guys are about, what you're doing for the community, highlighting young individuals like myself, and try to better our communities. But yeah, I'm actually on site in Long Beach, putting out fires like every good boss does. But yeah, here I'm ready for you.
Yeah, man. First off, Vic, you're owner of G6 Design. So talk to us about, first of all, what does G6, what does that stand for? And give us a little bit about your background.
All right. So G6 Designs, it stands for Garcia Sace, right? I got a blended family. I had 4 kids of my own. My wife, she had 2 kids, and they just so happen to all be last name Garcia. So when we came together, wow. It was a big burden. How are you going to support that many kids? And we were living in a tiny house in Chino, and a little bit about my background. So I engineer weapons and naval systems, ships, and combat systems for the Navy and the Marine Corps. So I started, nice. Dabbling with designing and construction, trying to help out, the mom and pop guys, the guys who are working out of the garage locally, just helping them get to permits and stuff, looking at things from a engineering perspective. So I was doing that kind of as a side hobby for a while, just trying to put some extra money on the table. And then little by little, it just started growing, man. More people started asking me if I can do more. I have a crazy story. One of my first clients, he hired me to design his pool, and this guy was, a multi-millionaire, and the same issues that you hear about contractors trying to take advantage of people. This guy paid me to do his design. I drew it all up, got him all the permits, and I had multiple contractors come out and tell me, hey, this project's going to be $500,000-$600,000 when they look at the plans. They walk up to the house and they see this mega mansion, and right away they're like, oh, $1 million minimum. So he went around. Yeah, you know how that goes, right? People see money signs and they try to take advantage. So this guy, he said, you know what, Vic, you designed it. You're going to build it for me. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm not a contractor. I've never had a pool before, but it doesn't look that hard. I'll try to figure it out. And that was it, man. My first project was my biggest project, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like the first kind of project, and it's like one of those like dream projects for most people. And right off the bat, you kind of build off from that point, right?
Yeah, so it was more surprising that a person of that stature would trust a brand new kid with, hey, I've never built a pool before. I didn't have any employees. I didn't have any equipment. I was driving around in my Ford Explorer delivering materials with Home Depot trailers, So this guy lived in a mega mansion. He could afford to pay to any company he wanted. What he wanted was, the trust and honesty and transparency. And I think that's what really set us apart from the other people. And, thank God for that project that I was able to meet some solid cats and kept the good ones around, and, learned some lessons from the bad ones. And every move has just gotten bigger and bigger ever since.
So did you know anything about pool or like the pool industry like before you got started?
So I was doing my master's degree for work. My job said, hey, you got to get an MBA and you got to get a master's in project management. So in that process, you have to do fake business plans, fake marketing plans,
Yeah.
and so I chose to do it on a fake pool company. At the time, my ex father in law, he worked for California Pools. They're like one of the most well known companies for 50 plus years. And I always told him, I'm like, man, dude, you're damn good at what you do. You're a perfectionist with your tile work and your masonry. Why don't you start your own company? And he goes, oh, it's not that easy. Not anybody can do it. So it was more of a kind of a challenge thing, like I'll show you, right? So in the process of doing my master's, I created a fake pool company offerings the most innovative products and techniques available. And through that process, I researched and did all the things that people that know nothing do Barnes and Noble, buying books, YouTube, how to build swimming pool videos. I studied plumbing, electrical, and that's it, man. I'm just self-taught everything. Never had a pool in my life, never lived in a house with a pool, never worked in construction building pools, and I kind of just took off.
Wow. So I feel like that's when you take initiative and you kind of educate yourself. That speaks volumes, man. Because it's not anybody can just teach themselves and just like boom. Next thing you know, you're building, and designing pools for multimillionaires. And it's and we'll touch base on taking it back full circle and how you started and who you're working for now, but you know going back here and talking about how you got into the pool industry, did like what's your passion or what do you like to do? Like as far as do you like to design pools or do you like the whole from the engineering, the plumbing, all of it? Like what's your like niche?
Honestly, I don't think it's so much pools. I don't think it's so much one aspect, whether it's the design or the building. I like building people. I like watching people grow. I like seeing a kid fresh out of high school to getting their first job, and 6 months later owning a car and now buying their first property. Like that's the part I like. It's the people building, relationship building, and then eventually it translates to providing good products and services for the clients who, I get invited to all the carne asadas. I go to all the parties. I'm the, hey, this is my pool guy, and just from that,
Nice. That's awesome.
I get 5 or 6 more jobs. So, today I could be doing pools. Tomorrow I could be doing bridges. It really doesn't matter. It's just, I like the whole hustle about it. I like the building part. So I'm kind of involved in every, right now you caught me on a porch. I was delivering materials cause I had to get something done. But tonight I'll be on a computer till 2, 3 in the morning, designing the next project. It's just kind of, that's the entire hustle.
I mean, I love that, man. I love that. So what have you, what what year did you start actually kind of from that point from your first project? When did you officially start G6 Designs?
So I had been doing designs and plans for other contractors since about 2007, 2008. So when the
Yeah,
first,
recently.
when the market crashed and the housing market and everybody was dying in the construction industry, they would call me out to kind of, hey, go talk to this client, and they were real like high end people. So it wasn't G6 Designs yet. It was just me,
Just
working
yeah,
as
just
a
doing on the
freelancer.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so G6 came to life. I mean, unfortunately, I went through a pretty bad divorce, like a lot of people, and I got taken to the ringer, and I had custody battles, lost everything, living in a studio, and I was like, man, I too much on my brain to be just sitting and moaning, becoming the victim of life situations. So I said, you know what, I can do this, and I said, I'm gonna start a company that is gonna allow me to provide my kids the opportunity to learn, hard work, learn marketing, sales, construction, whatever trade they want to learn. And even my girls to be in the office and handling invoicing and contracts, whatever they want to do. They have. I might not be able to leave them $1 billion, but I'll give them a gift wrapped company that they can take it and run with it. So that's why I named it G6, because I got 6 kids, and if I can't leave them $1, at least they got a company. So it's the 6 Garcia kids.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, so you pretty much, it's a family-owned business, and you could kind of, continue with with the next generation, and hopefully, your kids kind of can grow it and make it even better. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we started actually building under G6 in about 2017, 18 time frame. So we're about 3-4 years in now. And we've always been just kind of a custom luxury builder. We're not the company that's going to build 100, 500 pools. That'll never be us. We're at 10, 20 pools max a year. But then I also help out a lot of other contractors as well. I still keep true to my roots and helping out the other guys that got me started.
Nice. So transitioning from that, what would somebody like a contractor that is working side by side with a project, with G6, what would they say that is different? Like what is G6? How does G6 separate from everybody else?
Okay, so it's pretty sad that in construction and swimming pool construction specifically, that the bar is so low that simple things like doing what you say you're going to do, showing up when you say you're going to show up, charging what you said you were going to charge, and just being honest sets you apart from the rest. So, everyone we work with, they say that consistently. Hey, Vic is straight up. I might rub up people the wrong way initially, but eventually when they get to work with us, they know that it's just, I'm about my business, man. I'm about my business and their business. And if I'm in their business, it's in my best interest to make sure they look good, because in the end, it's a reflection of me. So I treat everybody's job like it's my job and try to make them look good in the process. And don't get me wrong, we work for some pretty shady people too. But yeah, it's simply that, bro. It's doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and just keeping your word, look people in the eye, firm handshake, and just be a man about things.
No, man, you're totally right. And like, not just the pool industry, but just, outdoor living or anybody dealing with that industry, they get a bad rap, like, even, talking with clients, and homeowners, it's always like pointing the finger. Oh, he did that, or, they didn't do that right. So there's always negativity. That's what I've noticed with dealing with the different contractors and clients, that there's always that, pointing the finger, and it's never like, hey man, whatever, just take care of it. And then we'll if you're honest with the homeowner or the contractor, that's all at the end of the day that, they'll care about,
Absolutely, man. So I tell everybody, there's no perfect project. You're going to have issues everywhere, and us included. But, just simply, sitting around admiring the problem and finding ways to not just address it sometimes takes more effort than just, roll up your sleeves, get it done, move on to the next one. I mean, trust me, I had losses. I've had things where gone bad or things that were overlooked, and my first instinct is rip it out, do it again, right? Because I put myself in these homeowners' shoes. We're building expensive projects, and if I blew 6 figures on a yard, and I just did not like this piece of concrete for whatever reason, it's like, just rip it out, do it again. It's a lot easier to do that.
No, yeah, and when talking about homeowners, if you have a potential client, they walk into your office or your, into G6 HQ, what's the first thing that they'll kind of notice, or the first thing that you'll tell them that this is what you're going to get out of from day one? What's one of those things that, they walk in and they're like, wow, I could tell you from experience one thing, but I just want to see what you said.
So, I mean, I just want them to feel like we're not your average, mom and pop traditional builder. We're a young company. We're high tech. We're innovative. We're modern and clean. And I want them to kind of get that vibe the minute they walk in. If they follow me on Instagram, they know that I'm a certain way. I have a certain swag, and I listen to certain music. And when they walk in, it's going to be an immersion in what they experience on social media. After that, it's just like, okay, we got the fun part over, we got the initial attraction over, and then it just comes down to realizing that we're just about our business, man. We get down to business, we knock things out.
No, yeah, that's kind of like the vibe. The first thing I met you, one is like, the first thing that came through after I kind of talked to you was like innovation, and how you're using like new technology to kind of put the client, face to face, to communicating what they want and you understanding what they want. So talk to us a little bit about, getting their viewpoints and how it fits into like an immersive walkthrough when you're using like, for say, VR and like, new technology.
Yeah. So what we do is, a lot of this pool building and selling process it's a lot of communication. First, figuring out, I'm trying to understand the type of people they are, what they're into, what kind of functions they're planning to have, and then eventually get them down to, okay, what's their budget? What do we have to work with? From there, I kind of just put on my I'm the customer hat. And if this was my house, what can I do? And I just go off and design something based on their size lot, their space available, the local codes. By the time I bring them into my office, I have the VR room where they can slap on the goggles, walk through their project, or we can talk about things that they may not like. Like if I put in my 2 pennies and I say, hey, your rendering has red brick because that's what you have already in your house. And I put it on the render and they say, well, you know what, we're planning on changing it anyway. It costs me a 1 mouse click to say, get rid of that red brick, put on some nice modern travertine. Here's the cost differences. And by the time they walk out of my office, I got the material selected, the design locked down, and a contract signed, and I'm ready to build. So I kind of want to change the game on how pool buying happens. Right now, people call 20 numbers and somebody might show up, might not show up. They give them a big fat number, and if they're not scared away, they'll talk more. I want to change that and have people kind of experience from A to Z, what can my yard and house be with one company and one building at one time.
Yeah, I think you said it too right there. Like you want to make it an experience for the client and have them be a part of the process. Like one of the things that, I'm in the middle of kind of remodeling my kitchen, and we're just going to be setting up, in a couple of days here with, a contractor, and they're going to come to my house and tell me what's up. The first thing that I want to feel is that I want to feel comfortable and I want to be part of the experience. And when you walk them through that stuff, how has this stuff, like when you're communicating with the VR and you're doing all these designs, how has that helped you with, relaying the message? Because back then you just kind of sketch up something and then, hey, it's gonna look like this, and they just hope it's gonna be as as what you guys talked about. How has that helped you kind of close deals?
Yeah, so when I'm competing against guys that show up with a piece of paper and they draw a little rectangle on it and they say, "Oh, here's 75K," it's pretty easy when I tell the homeowner, yeah, "Okay, 75K, I got it. What kind of equipment do you have? What's the elevation? How much concrete? What's your plaster finishes?" And then they look at me kind of with a deer in the headlights, like, "I don't know. They didn't mention any of that." And I was like, "Well, you better get an answer because I don't see none of that on your little, napkin drawing." So the 3D part of it and the virtual reality, it closes the gap between business and client to have a mutual understanding on what needs to get done, what are the finishes. And, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I also use it for my crew to communicate, okay, here's a side profile, here's an aerial view, here's exactly what it needs to look like versus them trying to translate it from a flat file on a paper, so it works for us as well as it does for the homeowners. Now, for some people, even people that I don't build their pools, I tell them, go ahead and get a design because you're going to get 10 guys or 10 girls in here. and they're going to sell you 10 different things, and then you're going to be trying to compare apples and oranges. It's better to have a design locked in saying, this is exactly what I want, price this only, and compare contractors across contractors. Even people that tell me, you're going to build my pool, I'm like, no, I'm not. Call 5 people more so you get an idea what things cost. And they end up calling me back anyway, but that's how confident I am that through our transparency and attention to detail, that it's going to set us apart from anybody in the game.
No, 100%, man. And like you said, a photo is worth 1,000 words, but right now, and you know this more than anybody, video is worth 1,000,000 words, man. So, when you're posting that stuff on your social media and showing your clients like these renderings, man, that goes a long way, man. Like, so, when you can see that in real time, I mean, I think even now, you even talked about it a little bit the other day, how like this metaverse, that's going to change the game even further.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I tell people, the video thing is big for me. I'm not like the traditional companies that, they hire a professional photographer and they wait, a month or two between posts and it has to be the perfect shot. Like, I'm in the grind. I'm on the grind daily. I'm at the jobs. I'll go from a demo to a finished job to a sales job. And people like to see the day-to-day ops of how things get done. It provides a level of trust and transparency, showing like, damn, these guys they're all over the place. They're not just on one project for a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, it's going to be an epic project that shows up on a magazine or wins an award. But for the average Joes, the blue collar, Americans, hardworking people that, don't have $1 million to spend on a backyard, they like to see like, what can I do for my budget? And that's kind of who we do it for, part to educate the buyer, educate the builders. But, going back to your point on the digital videos and all that, we're talking a little bit about this, and this metaverse, it's going to happen. It's going to be big. We didn't know about the cryptocurrency of 20 years ago, but now people are making millions. I mean, you got teenagers that are overnight millionaires and selling little pictures of bored monkeys. So I don't get it. I'm not quite savvy with all that stuff, but I know that if the world's going that route, and that eventually is going to become a formal, way to trade and do business, then why would we not be a part of it? So, I look at the design piece as an opportunity. Now people are going to be living in this metaverse, and it's going to be like Sims, where you create your own little pad and spend money to buy some decorations. And eventually I want somebody to be like, oh man, I got to get so many points or so many NFTs or so many Ethereum I got a G6 pool in my metaverse backyard, right? So I can design it and have their pimped out backyard digitally, and not ever have to worry about construction or buying materials or people getting hurt. It's just a whole nother business line, a whole nother venture that's out there.
Yeah, man. We'll pretty soon we'll have a G6 NFT out.
Gee, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how
in the marketplace.
Yeah, man.
So you're on location. You're putting out fires. I wanted to ask you, from a scale to 1 to 10, how busy are you? 10 being like super busy.
I you know what, man? I think every business owner would tell you 10. But honestly, man, I don't even have a scale anymore. I woke up, 4:30. I'm already getting blown up on my phone. By 5:30, I already got all the guys laid out. They're heading to 12 different job sites. I got vendors calling me for online purchases. By the time I leave the house, hour on the road, I've already handled 10 calls. I'm probably 10 or whatever the max is breaking that meter. But yeah, man, I'm a 18, 20 hour a day guy. And, I go from being the purchaser in the morning to the coordinator in chief to the janitor at 9 a.m. to the delivery boy at 12, and then right now trying to keep the peace with the clients and make sure that everybody's good and work my way back home. So I'm in Long Beach now. I'll be here for another 2-3 hours. Head over to Corona Del Mar to check on those guys, and then we'll hit every job on the way home to Eastville. So I think it's pretty. Yeah, I'm pretty busy, bro.
You're all over the map, man.
Always.
So the reason I ask, because I've noticed with working with different contractors and it's specific in the outdoor industry specifically. Now, how has like the rise, right, of like just like these outdoor projects and homeowners just trying to just put in all their money now into their backyard, how has it impacted G6?
So it definitely impacted us in the form of growth and opportunity. So, when the whole COVID thing started,
Yeah.
people really didn't know what to expect, and the world kind of stopped for a while. Everybody was living at home, looking out their window. Eventually, you start getting bored. We couldn't go out to eat for a while, not even get a haircut. So,
wife's cutting your hair.
Right, man. Yeah, we're looking pretty busted there for a while, but so people started, one, saving a lot of money. Two, they couldn't spend on what they normally do, like the Disney trips and the Cancun annual trips and the Hawaii trips. You couldn't really, go outdoors, get an RV. Everything was shut down, all the federal parks and the state parks. So people started dropping major bags in their backyard, man. My average project went from like 65, 70K for a pool, a spa, and some decking, to everybody calling saying, hey, what can I get for 150, 200 grand? And it's just crazy to me. It's like, some houses are like 500, 600K and people are dropping 200K in the backyard. I don't know if it's because the housing market also, shot up at the same time. People had access to equity, or they just said, you know what, we don't know what's going to happen. I'd rather have the coolest house on the block and keep everybody home. If we ever get locked down again, at least I know my house is fun to chill at. So it's definitely helped us in the form of growth and opportunity.
No, yeah. And, because I've noticed, and you can speak onto this because I know you're having this issue. There's a lot of people that they're, I would say, complaining or maybe just frustrated, but they can't get their project done, like even in the actual year, right? Like everything's pushed back, so there's a lot of people complaining about not being able to fulfill a project because it's so busy, right? And that it's not just you, but it's everybody. How would you answer to people that are maybe like trying to get something done for their backyard, but they're probably pushed out for like till 2023?
Yeah, so anytime you have high demands or surges in any industry, you're going to have issues with supply and demand, right? So for one, there's not many qualified builders that you'd want in the first place. And then two, there's a shortage of everything. I mean, you look at the ports in LA and in San Pedro, Long Beach, they're just parked. So all the stuff we get imported from either China or Italy or Greece or Turkey, it has a trickle down effect. So if you look at the car market, every manufacturer, you look at their lots and they hardly have any cars, and they're saying there's a chip shortage. Well, you look at the construction industry, and for a while there, wood was off the map because there was a shortage of wood because people weren't working, plants were shut down. So what it does is it drives the cost up on everything, and it makes availability of supplies and equipment difficult to attain. So, people this is the world we're in. This is a new world. I tried to use my social media as an educational platform, just keeping it, real with people. Like, this is the case. I'll put clips of news if people aren't in the know, like, hey, aren't you looking outside? Like, you live in Long Beach. Can't you see all the ships parked out there? Your tile's right there, So I try to tell people, like, look, man, I used to build pools in 5 weeks. from start to finish, like from digging to filling it up with water, 5 weeks. I guaranteed in my contract 8 weeks just to give me some wiggle room in case something happened. Even 8 weeks was unheard of at that time.
Yeah.
Now we're averaging 14, 16, 20 weeks for something as dumb as I need one light that hasn't come in, or I need one pump that nobody has. And that's just the new reality of today, brother. It's difficult on every, and it's not a G6 problem. It's not a California pools problem. This is a world problem that we're all faced to deal with. And, as people, we just have to be understanding. There's not a lot of people available to work. You look at all the fast food restaurants, they all have signs, hey, we're looking to hire. People for a while were more happy staying at home, getting paid unemployment and stimmies instead of going to
Yeah.
work and earning an honest buck. You know,
No, yeah, it's funny because I kind of manage some social media accounts, right? And for some of them are actual like pool contractors, so it's like, what do you do? Like you can't say like, oh, contact us for your pool next year, right? So it's kind of like well, damn, like we're stopping all business at this point
right?
because so and so, but it's kind of it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time.
Absolutely, man.
So as we're wrapping up here, Vic, as you're a busy man, going 110 miles per hour every single day, waking up at 4:30 a.m., having breakfast on the road, maybe not even having breakfast. But how do you stay creative, man? How do you stay kind of passionate about just, waking up every single day, man?
Man, I honestly, I look at everything that I encounter, in life throughout the day, and get inspired by simple things like things I can't afford, right? I see this, Richard Mille watch, and it has some crazy gears on it. And I started thinking, well, how can I incorporate that into one of my designs? Or, I love the Corvette, the C8s. I love the lines. I've been saying I was going to get one for 3 years already. And 4 work trucks later, I still don't have a Corvette, but I try to incorporate things in life into construction. So from my design perspective, I'm always looking at what's the coolest thing I can give the client for their budget, and how can I, push the needle a little bit more while still making it easy to construct and being sound. And, I'm an engineer at the end of the day, so I try to solve problems. I always look at things like how can I make it better? How can I improve this? Whether it's a process, a material, or an equipment. So that's kind of my drive, man. I wake up every day like I'm starting from ground zero. Like I got zero in the bank, and I got to go get it, man. And I don't even look at bank accounts. I kind of just go out and say, hey, I don't got nothing in my stomach today. Let's go eat.
Damn, that's dope, man. That's an interesting way of like kind of seeing it, right? Like kind of something that you see or you want, but you kind of incorporate it into your actual work, man. That's pretty dope.
Yes, sir.
Just talking to you, man. I think you're inspiring other kind of people that maybe want to follow it, and maybe not just building kind of outdoor environments for people, but just creating memories and experiences for the future, man. So what's any advice for any future contractors out there that things that they should inspire, or things, just little like small tips.
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of guys and girls actually on social media that reach out, and whether it's for advice or mentorship, and I'll drop what I'm doing all the time to help the next man or woman up, and I tell them all the same thing. It's just stay true to whatever your brand is. In my case, my brand is my name and my family, so I'll always kind of use that as my guiding compass to not let them down, and that translates to how you conduct yourself in the world, right? With people, with other businesses, maintaining your word and looking people in the eye, and giving them a fair but firm deals, and just keeping your nose clean, because in construction, I'm an outsider to this game, but I quickly learned that everybody knows everybody's business. It's like high school. So,
Yeah.
you burn one person, 10 others are going to know, and nobody's going to want to touch you. So now we have all the Yelps and Google reviews and all that. So it doesn't take long for you to screw somebody over and then for the world to know it. So I always tell them, like, don't think you're going to get rich on one project. Focus on the craft, focus on the product, and the money will eventually come. But if they just jump in trying to focus on money, they're going to fail. They're truly going to fail.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it, man. Well, Vic, thanks for stopping by the pod, man. Keep on doing what you're doing. We'll talk soon. And that's Vic Garcia, owner of G6 Designs. If you want, tell the audience where they can find you, social media, all that stuff.
Hey, thanks, Rod. I'll be back on anytime you want me on. I'm here for you, brother. But yeah, if you guys want to look us up, our tags are G6 Designs, both on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You want to see some of the work, get some ideas, just search G6 Designs Pools. Our website, www.g6-designs.com, and you guys can get it started there. Link at the bottom shoots right to my phone, and I'll be at your door trying to see what we can do. But thank you for having us on. Thank you, all you guys, for listening and for all your support.
There it is, guys. So Vic Garcia, owner of G6 Designs, he's going to put in work. All right, man, I'll let you go and handle business, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Would you like to be on the podcast? Got something to talk about? Make sure to head over to the website at hardwoodrod.com. Leave your name and the topic you'd like to discuss, and I'll add you to the calendar.